What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com, CEO, MTS Nutrition. I gotta have this thing centered here. Got a little bit of hat OCD. Anyway, I get this all the time. What are my favorite books? What are some book recommendations? And I've read, I read really fast, okay? I'm one of those speed reader guys. I don't know if I'm official with it, but I can blow through books. I really love information, and I drive a lot. And when I drive, I put on audiobooks. So I've blown through a ton of books. So to narrow it down to these five, you might say, what about this book? What about that book? Have you read this? Most likely I have read that book. However, these are the books that stand out to me as something that can probably benefit you. I'm not on those big rah-rah, har-har, you are going to be great mindset books, because I think your mindset should always be to be great. I've never had to have somebody else motivate me. You know what I mean? I motivate myself. I don't need a self-help book. I just want to learn from others, and I want statistics and data to make me better. And also, some things just interest the shit out of me. So, with that said, I have a top 5 book list. I recommend, if you haven't read these, you read every single one of them. I'm going to briefly give you a reason why it's my top book, and you can take it from there. Now, the number one book I've ever read as a marketer, as the top 100 CMO in the world, according to ranking systems, I post it on my Instagram once in a while. You know, I love marketing. I love everything about it. I love, because that's my education. That's what I've always been interested in, the psychological part of everything involved. And so my number one book of any book that I would recommend to anybody in business, in any form of anything, even in their career, because it pertains to anybody, from how to position yourself on Instagram, how to position yourself on YouTube, how to position yourself in the workplace. And he did have a sub book I'll explain later, but Positioning by Ries and Jack Trout is the number one book. It tells you and gives explanations and examples of how to position your brand, because there's only so much space in the mind share of the consumer. So Positioning by Ries and Jack Trout is definitely number one. There's the new positioning. There's also Positioning for the Brand of You. I believe it's called something along that, where it tells you how to position yourself in your career. Positioning leads to everything. It lends itself to differentiation. People ask me, what are the top 2 things you could tell me about starting a business? And I say positioning and differentiation. Look them up. And I'm not being a dick. I'm just telling you, if you read Positioning, you will have a huge chunk of starting a new business answered by 2 really, really, really gifted writers. Along those lines, I recommend all the other book by Ries and Jack Trout: 22 Immutable Laws of Branding, 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, Marketing Warfare, Focus, all tremendous books. Tremendous books. Number 2 would be written by Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Dwayne Wade, among other people's trainer. And that's by this man named, his last name's Grover. The book is Relentless, From Good to Great to Unstoppable. You might hear me use the word cleaner. A cleaner is someone like a Kobe Bryant, who doesn't just, someone who doesn't just take the ball and might hit a game-winning shot. That'd be a closer. Someone who just does a good job is a cleaner, a cooler. But a cleaner is someone who expects the ball. That's your Michael Jordan. That's your Dwayne Wade. That's your Kobe Bryant. So I love that book because it kind of instructs you on how you can become closer to being a cleaner in your area of life. It goes over the downsides and the upsides to being a cleaner. So definitely Relentless, From Good to Great to Unstoppable. I'm going to actually post these books down below in the description, as well as an audio. You know where to buy them: Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Just audio books. There's a lot of audiobook choices. You have an app on your iPhone if you have one. You're good to go buying the books. Choice Theory by William Glassner. I learned more about parenting from this book than any other book. It's basically the ability to give people choice. They have choice theory schools across the nation which outperform other schools by a landslide. And it doesn't have to do with punishment. It has to do with enabling people to make choice, and also to take, let's say, a situation that was bad and make that choice to move on. So Choice Theory by William Glassner is definitely something that I would highly recommend everybody reads. It's a long book. The audio book is boring. The guy's voice is boring, but it's well worth it in the knowledge you will attain. Talent is Overrated by Colvin. It's a wonderful book, especially for parents and for anybody trying to maximize their performance and not have excuses. Essentially, Talent is Overrated utilizes data, studies, and just pure anecdote about how talent has actually never been, the actual God-given talent, as they call it, has actually never been proven by science. Actually, there are cases, obviously, if you're a basketball player, it helps to be 6'8". But you also have your Outliers, which is another book we'll go into, like, you know, Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues, who just out-practice, who outperform. So Talent is Overrated is another book you should definitely read. If you're a parent or an expecting parent, read it now. The last book I will recommend in my top 5, and I might do a second installment of this, is Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Basically, factors that contribute to high levels of success. Now, it will take data from hockey players in Canada and what made them great to Bill Gates, to Jerry Rice. A great book in maximizing your potential. You notice how there's no 50 Shades of Grey. I don't waste my time reading fun books. If I'm going to read, I'm going to read something that's going to better me. I also don't read self-help books. I'll read books on psychological theory that'll help me. But my opinion on books, if you're looking at me for a book like, I read this book and it totally motivated me, it's not me. I've always been motivated. I'm not that dude. I'm not saying those books don't have their place. I'm just saying that they don't have their place in my life. Because I'm a thinker, a self-motivated CEO thinker, type A, aggro. I have no interest in self-help books. I am a self-help book. So my opinion, whether you need those self-help books, throw these books in the mix. Again, Positioning by Ries and Trout, Relentless, From Good to Great to Unstoppable by Grover, Choice Theory by Glassner, Talent is Overrated by Colvin, Outliers by Gladwell. Get it now. Enrich your mind, enrich your life, enrich everything. And that's not a game.